with the one and only Kimberly Hobscheid. Did I say it right? Yay!
Yes, absolutely.
I was going to ask you before we went live, and then we were live too fast. And Kimberly and I have met each other a number of places along the way. We're doing her summit. She's here to tell you more about that summit, but also to really support you with your 20-word intro, that challenging question, or answering that challenging question of what do you do? So she's got a magical formula for clear, concise, and I can't say the rest of my title, but answers to that question. But before we do that, let me tell you just a little bit about Kimberly. She is an award-winning international inspirational public speaker, best-selling author, audiobook producer, and 6-time entrepreneur. So I'm going to talk to her about that. She's the creator of Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel, an active community of entrepreneurs looking to contribute, connect, and grow with other entrepreneurs. Her vision is to inspire all entrepreneurs to achieve their genius in whatever way that is. So thank you so much for being here, Kimberly. I generally start off by asking people to tell us something that's not in your bio, not in all your regular Facebook marketing, something we wouldn't normally guess about you that you can share in public.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So thanks for that intro. And I know that one of your questions is always like, how did you make the leap into entrepreneurship? So that is not actually in my bio, but it's an interesting story. So is it okay if I share that?
Sure, but before, yep, absolutely. But before you do, is there anything else that you want to tell us that we wouldn't guess just looking at you? Something about you that, some secret talent or something that you do that people go, oh, I wouldn't have guessed that.
I have whitewater rafted on Class 4 rapids with one of Costa Rica's Olympic medal champions.
Oh, cool. That's very nice. I used to be a whitewater rafting guide. People would never guess that looking at me for 4 years.
I would not have guessed
in Canada.
I have driven over 200 miles in Jasper Park in Canada, horseback, and I've hiked sections of the Pacific Crest Trail.
Awesome. Yep, in the Jasper area is really close to where I'm from in Calgary and so forth. So Kimberly is joining us from beautiful, sunny California. That's what you can see outside her window. And I'm still down in Orlando, Florida. Now, let's talk about that leap moment, because one of the things that Bodacity is about is women building bold businesses and bold lives. So I love to talk to successful entrepreneurs like you about, especially 6 businesses, how did you make the leap moment? So that initial getting over all the spinning and fear and so forth and so on. What did you do? How did you think about it? What support did you call in? How did you make your leap?
Great question. So I love hearing the stories of how people discovered entrepreneurship. Some people did it early in their lives, and some people did it later. I actually spent 17 years in corporate, climbing the corporate ladder right into those golden handcuffs. I was one of those people who, rose through the ranks and got lots and lots of promotions along the way, and ended up in an executive director role where I was running offices from San Diego to Texas. I had 30 offices reporting up through me and my organization, and I was making great money. And I said I was in it for 17 years of it. 15 years of it was great. The last 2 were really difficult, and the company took a turn, and they had some financial troubles, and they were going a direction that I just didn't want to go. The company is fine now, and they're fine without me, and I'm fine without them. But it was a really, really tough decision to leave the corporate world and go into full-time entrepreneurship. Now, fortunately for me, I had actually been an entrepreneur and had what many people call side gigs along the way, and had really enjoyed that, and then decided to pull the trigger and go full-time as an entrepreneur. And I had a couple of other things sort of in the wings. I was a property owner. I had a couple of rental properties. I had a couple of businesses which I had grown, and I had already sold one. And so when I went full-time into entrepreneurship, I already had some of the taste of what it would be like. But going full-time entrepreneurship is definitely a leap. And I was just sharing with a friend of mine about a year ago. I've been a full-time entrepreneur for about 5 years now. And she said, what do you miss most? And I said, actually, there's 3 things. I miss expense reports. Those were fun.
Yes.
I miss somebody else paying the bills, right?
Yes, yes.
I miss travel. And I really, going to the different offices and having people, warmly welcome me and saying, great to have you here. And I miss the community. And I really did miss the other players on our team. When you're in corporate, you have, other people who are also going to go to that meeting and on Friday or whatever. And I miss that. And so then about a week later, she said, we were talking and she said, wait a minute, didn't you just tell me that in this last week that you traveled? That you had somebody else pay your bills for you, and that you have community now with Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel. And I was like, yeah. And she goes, so basically you recreated everything that you miss in like the span of the last week.
Exactly. I was laughing as you were saying all that. I was like, well, but wait, you've got all that. Exactly. Although it is really truly nice, and I do agree with you, to have a company that's not my company pay for my expenses was really, really nice. I do miss that a little bit. I don't miss the politics. I don't miss the BS. I don't miss the rest of that. So when you actually finally pulled the trigger, though, what was the mindset thing that you had to get over that was in your way of actually committing and saying, yep, I'm all in?
Oh, that's a really good question. But it's really just a matter of I wanted to carry my own action forward, right? I wanted to do what I was meant to do. I wanted to hold my own banner as opposed to carry somebody else's, where I wasn't really believing in that banner anymore. I was just doing it for because I had the job, I had responsibility, and I had a paycheck. All of those things definitely contribute to it. I won't say that I just did it for the money, because I wouldn't have done that. But I did feel responsibility to my team. I was leading a very large team at the time that was counting upon me, and it was very hard to leave those people behind. And it was very, very, very difficult to make the decision to, set down that banner and carry my own. But ultimately, that was it. I want to continue to do something that I didn't personally want to carry the banner for anymore.
Well, I love that, and I hear the commitment to your own path, and to I like the phrase "carry my own banner." And that banner probably existed for a while before you finally made the choice to pick it up and carry it full time. Was there something that happened or shifted that caused you to finally say, "Okay, yep, now is the time"? Did you create an exit plan, or were you someone who was just like, one day, that's it, I've had enough, I'm out of here?
I think there were several days like that where I said, that's it, I've had it, I've had enough, and tried to leave a couple of times. I actually was fortunate enough to be very valued at that particular company, and they did come after me a few times saying, we'll make it right, we want you to stay. And then the final day was really a meeting of the minds where it was mutual. And I said, I don't want to leave you hanging, but I don't want to do this anymore. And that was a conversation that I had with executive management, and so it wasn't a dramatic mic drop, I'm out, but it was, it was definitely a decision that I knew that I needed to make, and it was a long time coming.
Well, and so what I hear in that is similar to my experience, that sometimes it takes us a few runs at something that is meaningful and important for us, that we make the decision, we have a reason why, and we have all of that motivation, but it can be challenging, especially to let go of a comfort zone. And where you're paid, where you're respected, where you've got a team, all those things we talked about being really valuable and easy and so forth, it can be very challenging to really move outside of and let go of that comfort zone into the unknown. And so you took a few runs at it, a few trial runs, and then finally, it sounds like you also enlisted or enrolled your senior management in supporting you in making that decision and making that move. So you enrolled others in seeing it your way, so that you could transition out and into your own business. And it sounds like you also got really clear on why your banner was important to you, why that mattered to you.
Yeah, I think you do need to get clear on your why and comfort with the move forward, and that may take some time, and that's okay. We're all here, and on a different path. And I'm a firm believer on there are no failures. There's only opportunities and learning. And so, no matter how many times, like you said, you take a run at it and then it doesn't work out, that's okay. That was the path you were meant to be on. Maybe you needed a little bit more time to digest before you pulled the trigger. So,
yeah, absolutely. All right. So thank you for that. In terms of making the leap, I think that's, there's a lot of people who think we should just do it and have all the courage we want whenever we want it. And sometimes we need to build that courage muscle a little bit. So on the note of what do you do, tell us, what do you do?
So that's a great question. Funny you should ask, because I teach people how to answer that exact question. One of the greater gifts I give to the world, and a public service is, if you will, is to help people answer that question well. Because whether you go to a networking meeting or whether you're answering your family's question, Kimberly, what do you do? It can be difficult to answer that question. And
I always ask with that tone, isn't it? What do you do?
What do you do? And I mean, your kids are probably the biggest ones to ask it, right? Like, Mom, I don't know what she does. She's on the phone a lot. She's always on the web. She's always taking Zoom calls, but I don't know what she does.
Exactly.
But also when I go to networking events, right? And they can be online or they can be in person. Whenever you're asked, so what do you do? Or if I ask somebody, so what do you do? I usually get 3 answers. Would you like to know what they are?
Sure. Okay. Tell me what the 3 answers are.
Number 1 would be, I do a lot of things, right? And we get that all the time. So I do a lot of things and I think, oh, wow, because that doesn't advance the conversation at all. I know nothing more about what you do. And I can't, are we going to dig into all of them? Or are you going to share one with me, or what's going to happen next, right? So number 1 is, so I do a lot of things. That's a rough one that needs to stop right away. The second one is the opposite of that, which is like an elevator speech about exactly what they do, but it's a rehearsed, somewhere between 45-second and 2-minute download of a rehearsed speech that just goes on, and it's like a fire hose. You can't get them to stop. And then the third thing is sort of the hook, which is, I help people achieve their dreams. And when you get that one, you're like, okay, so now I have to ask, in what way do you help people achieve their dreams? And then you're going to get the fire hose anyway, right? It's those are the 3 things that I generally get, and it's just painful to watch them come. Either no matter which one it is, I'm like, whoosh, this is going to be difficult. So I went on a mission to help people create a 20-word intro.
Okay.
And in a 20-word intro, you give exactly what people need in order to have a clear, concise, and memorable first impression.
Okay.
And it's based on actually neuroscience, what the brain can receive. If you are giving them a 1.5-minute speech about what you do, they're going to start throwing away words as quickly as possible and trying to grab onto something that they can hang on to, right? So the human brain can only really process about 17 words at a given sitting, at a given time. So if you do 20 words, they're already throwing 3 of them out. They're fleshing them out as quickly as humanly possible.
So that was going to be my question. How did the 20 come about? So thank you for answering that. And it sounds, and when you first said it, I thought, oh, that's a lot of words. And then I started to kind of put frame around it. And it's like, oh, that's not very many words. Oh. So how do you do that?
So it comes in 4 parts, and I actually have a little worksheet that I can throw in the chat if you like, which is a little bit about how they can get this. So I sent that to you in Facebook. If you want to throw it in the chat while I'm going through it, that would be great.
Just put it in there. It's there.
Yeah. So the first thing that you want to know, they're going to want to know, and if you think about this, like, how do you want to receive information? The first thing that you want to know about somebody is their name, right? So I say, I'm Kimberly. All right, that's 2 words because you use the word I'm, which is only 1 word. Kimberly, because nobody actually, nobody gives a crap. I hope I can cuss on this. Nobody gives a crap about your last name right now. They just want your first name. Okay.
Exactly.
So I say, I'm Kimberly. They can have my last name if I give them a business card, or if they ask, I'm happy to share it with them. My last name is complicated, so I try not to throw it out there. If it's complicated, people are going to really get stuck on it, and they're going to be processing brain power on it. And if it's really easy, they're going to forget it anyway, because they'll be like, was it Anderson or Anders or Andres? What was it exactly? So either one is not going to help you. So you say, I'm Kimberly. That's your first 2 words. Your second section is actually the next thing that they want to receive, which is who you help.
Yep.
So they want to know if they're the kind of person that can use your service. So you're going to want to give 2 to 3 words on who you help. And that's also called your niche. It is not your psychographic. It is not, an avatar descriptor with, 15 words in it. It's 2 to 3 words. It's usually a person's title, and it usually has no adjectives in it. So it's not busy entrepreneurs. It's women entrepreneurs.
Okay.
Right? So you would have things that people can easily identify. Are you a woman entrepreneur? They would self-identify as, yes, I am one, or no, I'm not. They would also be able to identify other people in their worlds that are that person. So if I'm not a woman entrepreneur, but I know one, I can think, oh, my friend Kathy is a woman entrepreneur. So they'll still continue listening, but now they're listening on behalf of Kathy.
Right.
All right.
I think something you said there is really important to just kind of really underline. You said no adjectives, and I think it's really valuable, because a lot of us want to put in more descriptors and differentiate and so forth. But really, when you say busy women entrepreneurs, now that other person has to think, well, is Kathy a busy woman entrepreneur? What constitutes a busy woman entrepreneur? And it takes them out of being able to simply say, yes, they are, or no, they aren't. It
Exactly.
close them down. So that's brilliant to just take that one barrier away.
Exactly. I have so many more descriptors, and people do offer those descriptors, and you said it just geniusly. So that was very concise. Great job. You're on your way to clear and concise. Nicely done. But you're absolutely right. People don't know, well, I don't know if she's busy. I think she might be. Or another one that people use is heart-centered entrepreneurs, or seeker.
Wild.
We can't identify other people. You could identify if somebody's a hiker, a fourth-grade teacher, a medical professional, an entrepreneur. Those are really good 2 to 3 word titles of what people are. So you're going to want to take 2 to 3 words on that.
Okay, while we're on that topic, so Joni asked, what about peak performers? Does that...
would you be able to identify peak performers in your circle of influence? So if you say, I help peak performers, I'm like, I don't even know if I'm a peak performer, let alone any of my friends. So I would stay away from nebulous and work toward titles, work towards things that people can immediately raise their hand. If you went to a group of people and you said, I want all the peak performers to raise their hand, you'd have people go, I think, so you don't want that. You want, I'm looking for fourth grade teachers, and the fourth grade teachers will raise their hand, right?
Or professional athletes or something like that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, good. So the second thing that you want to, or the third thing, so the first is your name. I'm Kimberly. The second thing is the niche that you serve. The third thing that people want to know is what they get from working from you. Now, this is not your product or service. This is not a coaching program, or my favorite thing to say is a 20-point checklist. It's not what you sell.
Right.
It is what they get from what you sell.
Okay.
And this is 5 to 6 words. I will allow you to get 7 or 8 words in there, because if you're going to expand, this is where you expand.
Okay.
You're looking really for a nice, tight 5 to 6 words in this particular category. So what do people get from working from you? And then the last 5 to 6 words, and I'll let you shrink those to 4 or 3, is then your product or service.
Okay.
And this is the order in which the brain wants to receive information. So say, for example, I'm selling diet stuff to people, right? I might say, I'm Kimberly. I help new moms, which they can self-identify. I'm a new mom. Yep. I help new moms get into the jeans they were in before they were pregnant.
Okay.
By using, and then they want to know, like, all right, what are you going to do to me, right? Okay. All right, am I going to have to take pills? Are you going to make me fit, like eat your food that costs $1 million? Are you going to make me work out until I die? Are you going to starve me? Are you going to put me on keto? What are you going to do to me, right? So that's the way the brain works, right? I want to know who you are, if you can help me personally or one of my friends, what I get from working from you, and then fourth, what you're going to do to me if I work with you and how I'm going to get there. So that's how they want to receive the information. So if I were to do this about one of my businesses, I have a really cool little business that I started with my son, and I'll do my intro for that. Okay. So if they say, hey, Kimberly, what do you do? I say, oh, I'm Kimberly. I help published authors generate new streams of revenue and get a wider audience by creating audiobooks.
Okay, great. Right, that's where I first met you, is when you were really promoting that. Okay, that's awesome. Give us a couple more examples, and maybe can you tell us some simple ways to really hone in on the value or the benefit that people provide? How do they pick the one thing? Because I can hear my clients going, but I do so many things for people, right? How do they pick the one thing?
So stop. Nobody cares. I'm just kidding. I don't want to break people's heart. But when you talk about your stuff that you offer, nobody really cares about what you are offering until they know what they're going to get from it, right? So really hone in on what their benefit is. And if you can really describe that, you may be able to pick maybe two things. You'll notice that when I talked about the audiobooks, I said that they would get wider audience and new streams of revenue. That's two things, but it's benefits, right? Right. But I only talked about one thing that I offer, which is audiobooks. Now, do I offer more things than audiobooks? Yeah. I offer marketing plans behind that. I offer book writing services. I offer all kinds of different things. But nobody really cares about that, and you don't want to distract them with all those other things until they know the benefits they can get. Once you get them talking, and if they ask questions like, oh, tell me more, or, I haven't started my book yet, I really need to write one, then you can have those levels of conversation. The reason that you want to be clear and concise and memorable is because your ideal is that people can remember you and tell other people about you. Right. If you say things like, I help women who are trying to get to the 8th level chakra and find their new zone of reference, and a power hour that helps them generate new dharma, which will create, and you just keep going, people are like, yeah, she's some chick and I got nothing. They're never going to tell anybody stuff about you, right? You got to be clear, concise, and memorable. And this is the formula to do it.
I love it. Okay, so let's one more kind of area of controversy in this whole introduce yourself realm is the words I help. So there are some people who are vehemently against that. You and I both know one person who smacks people if they use that. I'm not a big fan of it myself. What are some other things that you use and say, and what's your thoughts around that?
There are schools of thought on that. And let me just endorse that school of thought, because one of the schools of the principle behind not saying I help is because a lot of times women in particular feel that they really want to help people, and that puts you in a volunteer mode or not a professional mode, right? Like I'm helping people rather than I sell or I serve or I provide, right? So that can be one school of thought. And I have found that it's when you're doing an intro, it is useful to be able to give people language that they're expecting to hear. So when you say, I help published authors, they're already past that part and they're really not thinking of you as a volunteer from their mindset. It's been my experience that they're not thinking of you as that. That they just see you as serving those kinds of human beings in the world. So I'm really not opposed to it, but I definitely understand the logic behind it. And if you're in your mindset, if you're thinking that you're a volunteer, then you have some mindset shift work to do before you provide that.
Exactly.
But that's my thought process on that. And if you present yourself as a professional and you're showing up in a suit and you talk about new streams of revenue and a wider audience, people are going to get that you're not doing that for free.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. So one of the things that you do is help published authors create new streams of revenue. Tell us what else you do and what is Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel about, and tell us a little bit about your summit that you have coming up too.
Yeah, so one of the other things that I do, I'm Kimberly. I serve entrepreneurs with that have recently left corporate by providing them with a community of other entrepreneurs so that they can grow their business and get the word out about what they do. Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel is a Facebook group that is a community of entrepreneurs by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs, and they are able to share their message with the world, test out new ideas, get information and strategies. We have a whole lot of educational stuff in there for entrepreneurs. And if you are a Facebook fan or are on Facebook, I would encourage you to search for Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel and join. It's definitely free to join, and it's an amazing community of people supporting people. And I absolutely love it. So that's a phenomenal opportunity for them.
Awesome, love that. So in addition to the gift here, the 20-word intro gift, and you can go and join, so that's in the chat, everybody. You can go and join Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel. And by the way, just in case you're curious, because yes, Kimberly and I do very similar things. Yes, we have communities that are very similar, and there is more than enough in this world to collaborate, co-create, go get stuff from her, go get stuff from me. It's about creating a bigger pie, not being jealous over keeping a little slice for ourselves. So, and so they can join that, and then tell them about the summit.
So yes, and I just want to camp onto that. Absolutely, that Jannette's totally right. I am a member of her group and a member of many groups, and it's just like joining clubs anywhere. If you join one club, it doesn't mean that all of the people are in that club. If you join multiple clubs, multiple BNIs, multiple networking groups, multiple accountability groups, you access different human beings that are in those different groups. And I strongly recommend joining lots of different opportunities to get lots of different value from different ways. So yes, absolutely. I wholeheartedly recommend that. Mm-hmm. The web summit that's coming up is a 3-day marathon. We do 12 speakers a day. We do one speaker on the hour every hour for 12 hours for 3 days, and the whole thing's live. You can do Q&A. You can jump in at any time and ask questions in the chat of the speakers. And so it's not just a series of videos that you have to watch when you find the time for it, but Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel's Web Summit is April 2nd through 4th, and we would love to have you come join it.
All right. So how can they go register for that?
Oh, they can go to, I can give you a link that you can put in the chat, or you can go to summit.entrepreneursrocketfuel.com. But Jannette actually has her very own link, and you're welcome to use that if you care to. And you can throw that in the chat later if you like. Yep. And so that you can promote it, because I know that you are doing a great job of sharing that with people, and I absolutely love that.
Yes, absolutely. Happy to. I will throw that in because I don't have it handy, but I will get it. I would have thought of that earlier.
No worries.
So the topics that are going to be on the summit. So give us a little teaser about what kinds of information, because, frankly, right now, given everything that's going on, there's a lot of summits going on, a lot of that kind of thing. So why do they want to come check it out? Aside from the fact that you're probably the most dynamic host I've been interviewed by on any summit podcast or anything so far. So besides it being really rocking and fun, why else should they come?
That's a great question. So we're going to be talking about all kinds of cool things. As entrepreneurs, we need a variety of support. Some of us are good at one thing, some of us are good at another. We're going to be talking, but we're going to have experts on that are going to be talking about advertising, media, and SEO. We're going to have people talking about organization and accountability, which is not a strength of mine. We're going to have people talking about the technology wonderland. We have somebody coming in about chatbots. We have another person coming in about WordPress. We have just tons of people talking about a lot of technology and the wonderland that is. We are having people talk about driving revenue and profits. A lot of people chase that 6 figures as revenue, and that is a big goal. But profitability is another matter altogether. If you're spending stuff along the way, your 6-figure revenue is not going to be turning into 6 figures in your bank. So we're going to talk a little bit about both of those, driving additional revenue and driving additional profits. We're going to be talking about mastering your mindset. That's difficult for some people, really getting your mind around having an organization that can scale and having additional employees in it at some point. Or maybe that's not what you want to do, but really chase a global field just by yourself is totally fine too. Increasing customers, leads, and market share, and passive income strategies for people who want to make money while they're sleeping, as it were.
Okay, and we're also, of course, going to tap into why people do what they do and how to use why in your business differentiation. So I know you've got lots of strong speakers on kind of mindset, purpose, passion, because right now, especially more than ever, people, I think, really need to be clear on who do we choose to be in the world? Why are we doing what we do? And how do we articulate that, much like the 20-word intro that we've been working on, but how do we articulate that also in our marketing and our positioning, and so that we can draw people in more? So thank you for including me in that. I'm really excited about doing your summit. And I also really encourage y'all to sign up. I will put my link in there. We have time now to watch quality programming and content. And so I encourage you to sign up for Kimberly's event, because I know there will be lots of great experts there.
Absolutely. I can actually throw into the host chat your link for Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel if you would like to grab that and share it with the group. I don't know if you can. I can also share it with you on the thing so that people can jump onto your link. It would be fantastic if you would be able to provide that.
Yeah, I can't. Can you put anything in the public chat? I can't.
But I would send it to you in Facebook. If you want to grab it in Facebook Messenger and throw it in, that would be great. I'm not able to put stuff in the public chat.
Okay, awesome. Look how fast she is on things. She's just on it. Okay, so any last questions for Kimberly before we leave? Joni, do you have any other questions? Anybody else who's on that I can't see? And how else can they reach you? So I did just put the link in there. Thank you very much. How else can they reach you? And besides the Entrepreneur Rocket Fuel site, is there anything else that you support entrepreneurs with that they should reach out to you for? And how would you like them to reach you?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. So really, the Facebook group is a great way to get involved right away. If you're an entrepreneur, you need to get your message out. If you are not being seen, you are being overlooked. If you are not being heard, your message is not getting out there. And if you are not being clear on your message, it won't resonate with the audience and make the impact that you were out there, that you were born to make. So I encourage you to get out there, get on stages, get in front of as many people as possible, share your message, because the world needs it. You are here to make the impact that you were designed to make, and let those ripples get out there into the world and create the momentum that you wanted to create. So be seen, be heard, and be clear.
Love it. Awesome. Thank you. And on that note, on that mic drop note, thank you very much for being here, Kimberly. Appreciate your help. Love the simplicity and depth of your approach to our intros. Please go download her free giveaway there. Thank you for that and for being here. And I look forward to seeing you on your summit and hopefully bringing lots of folks to come and watch with us.
I would love that.
Have a great day. Stay physically distant but socially connected, everybody.
Oh, I love that.
Yep. It's not time to be socially disconnected. It's time to be socially connected. So thank you for being here, one and all. Thank you for being here, Kimberly. Appreciate you, and I'll see you soon along the way.
Jannette, you're the best. I love working with you. Can't wait to create more amazing things with you.
Yep, collaborations, co-creations, we got lots in our future. All right, see you soon, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.